Hey everybody, welcome back to Jackson Jetsetting. Today I want to go over my tips and tricks for sailing on board the Carnival Freedom. I just got off of a 4-night voyage to Half Moon Cay and Celebration Key. I have a lot of things to say, some things that are sort of standard Carnival advice, and if you're a first-time cruiser, you're going to want to listen to that. Some things that are specific to this ship, as well as this itinerary, or if you're visiting one of those islands on the itinerary, you're going to want to pay attention. So thanks a lot for watching. Let's get into it. If you're new to the channel, I'm Mark. I run this channel. I travel all around the world shooting content for you guys. I also run a full service travel agency here. You can reach out to us at jacksonjetsetting.com/book for a free quote if you're in the middle of your cruise planning journey. We're completely free. We'd love to help you out. So first thing is, if you're choosing between different itineraries for this ship, I highly recommend the one that I chose. I loved going to only private destinations in the Bahamas with Carnival. So they own Half Moon Cay as well as Celebration Key, which is a private destination on the island of Grand Bahama. It's very, very fun just having a full experience that's curated by a certain brand. There's a lot of thinking that you don't have to do because there aren't as many options available to you. You have a beach day, you have different excursions that you can choose from, but it's all operated by Carnival. Now, Celebration Key, you can go off property and go visit the rest of Grand Bahama, so that's a little different, but you certainly don't have to. I do love that aspect of this itinerary, and if you're someone who's first-time cruiser, maybe a little bit nervous about leaving the country, this could be an awesome dip a toe in the water sort of situation and see if you like cruising or traveling outside of the country. Now, my sailing left from Port Canaveral, but this ship is going to be leaving after its dry dock and heading up to Norfolk, Virginia and doing some different sailings, but for now, for the next few months, you're going to be able to sail out of Port Canaveral. And I love Port Canaveral. One, I love my Disney theme parks. You can see a few different theme park videos on the channel. I definitely love that aspect of it. And it's about a 45-minute drive from Orlando's International Airport. So if you're flying in for a voyage, super easy to tag on a theme park or two to the before or after part of the voyage. So very, very easy to get to the ship as well. Quick Uber from any hotel or airport in the area. There's plenty of shuttle companies that I'll recommend down below in the description that can take you from any of those as well. But overall, Port Canaveral, super easy once you get there and on board the ship. Always an efficient process once you get there because it is one of the largest cruise ports on Earth. They have dozens and dozens of ships going in and out of there every week. Now, my next tip is definitely for every Carnival cruise. You're going to download the Carnival Hub app before your voyage. It is going to be a hub of activity for booking activities. It's nice to book things in advance because sometimes you can get discounts. Now, Carnival doesn't discount as much as Royal Caribbean does with some of their pre-cruise planning things. But for me, I really like to book typically what they have, a Wi-Fi and shore excursion bundle that you save 10% on your Wi-Fi package with. So it is a nice little savings. And if you're going to buy it anyway, you might as well buy it in advance. But this is going to work a lot better once you're on the ship. It is a very good app, actually, once you're connected to the ship's Wi-Fi. You don't have to buy a Wi-Fi package to use it, but it'll show you all of the ship's activities going on. And you can also book dining and extra activities and things like that. In terms of cabin selection, I had a Deck 2 ocean view and I absolutely loved it. Felt like the room was extra large compared to some of the other cabins, even on newer ships. And if you're someone who does get seasick or think they might get seasick, being lower and in the center of the ship is going to help alleviate a little bit because that ship, as it moves, if you're in the center here, you're moving a lot less than someone who has a cabin in the front or the back of the ship and on a higher deck. It's just going to make that motion and that travel time a little bit longer. So I do recommend that to clients. So overall, I really loved my time in a ocean view room, but if you're looking for a balcony, that's going to be the most popular cabin. I would try and book your sailing as early as possible to have the most choice of locations available to you for that cabin. But a balcony is a great option to get that sea air in the morning and in the afternoon reading a book. On those sea days, you can just view out in beautiful ocean. And then once you're in port, it's nice just to be able to look out from a high angle at the destination that you're about to go explore. So a lot of fun on board with staterooms. But for me though, I do shy away from placing clients or myself and any deck of staterooms that's directly below a public deck. So that's going to be your pool deck. If there's a row of staterooms right below that, I avoid that, as well as those interior decks that have a lot of public space. Now, once you're on board, it's going to be embarkation day and it is a lot of fun. I would definitely recommend that you pack a swimsuit or a change of clothes in your carry-on bags because you're gonna be able to use the pool, but you may not have access to those checked bags if you use the porters. Those get delivered later in the evening. So having a change of clothes is always nice to have. Also, you can bring 1 bottle of wine per cabin on board. Now, embarkation day is going to be pretty busy for that buffet. Rooms are not going to be ready until about 2 p.m. So a lot of people camp out in the buffet as well as on the pool deck during those times until the staterooms are ready. So I like to try and find areas that are maybe a little bit less busy. I found that the Blue Iguana Cantina was less busy on my sailing. So I grabbed a plate of tacos and had a lovely time with that. And then just went and found a place indoors just to sort of cool off because it was 108 degrees in Orlando with the heat index. So for me, I needed to be indoors. Now, speaking of hidden spaces, I would say that there are a few pockets of the ship that most people don't even find. One of them is the Serenity deck. It's an adults only area. It has more plush seating and it's completely free for sailors to use. There are 2 levels to this, and on the top level, there are actually 2 hot tubs very forward on the ship. So I really loved that spot. And then there are lots and lots of lounges that seem underutilized. The piano bar rarely used during the day. That's just one aspect. There's a whole nother lounge that's near the comedy club that I didn't see an activity in there the whole week. There are lots of places on this ship just by virtue of how it's built. Multi-level, lots of stairs to avoid the galley indoors. So sometimes you have to walk through certain pathways to get to the forward or aft part of the ship. It's very interesting, and this is not the first time I've been on this class of ship, so it's not a surprise to me, but it might be a surprise to you. So definitely placing your cabin in the right part of the ship may be something that you're looking for, especially if you have mobility issues and things like that, because the elevators do become pretty essential moving up and down the ship. Now, a few tips about the destinations. If you're heading to Half Moon Cay, I don't think you need an excursion for this day. The umbrellas and the chairs are free. They used to not be when you sailed there previously before they made it RelaxAway at Half Moon Cay. So that is really awesome. And your lunch is free here too. So I don't know if you necessarily need to spend a dime besides maybe some drinks on land. Your Cheers package does not carry over to land. If you've sailed on other lines, sometimes that does carry over. Unfortunately, here it does not. But your Wi-Fi does work on land, and they do have some service for the Bahamas if you want to use your cell phone as well, if you don't have Wi-Fi calling. So overall, it is a great destination. I just don't think that you necessarily need to do an expensive excursion when you have this amazing long stretch of beach at your disposal and lots of free activities here. They have sports courts, beach volleyball, that sort of thing. You can watch a full tour of the destination here on my channel. I'll link to it down below. But overall, a very nice day there, and I cannot wait to go back to that destination. Now with Celebration Key, this is the newest and greatest that Carnival has to offer. They have a cool sandcastle as their big icon, sort of like a Disney theme park. And they built 2 of the largest freshwater lagoons in the Caribbean, in the Western Hemisphere even. They are gigantic. They're very, very impressive to see. You could almost take a boat through it. But there's a lot to do here that's also complimentary. Now, one thing that people are a little surprised by is that Carnival only gives you 1 free meal. You're not able to just have an all-you-can-eat situation here. You're going to be paying extra for any food beyond that first meal. And so some people are a little surprised by that. On my day here, I went to Pearl Cove, and it can be a little bit more expensive of a day, but it is awesome. It's also adults only. So if you're looking for an adults only experience on land, this is going to be it. It's also going to have a more premium 3-course meal as well as drinks included if you opt for the all-inclusive package. So overall, I really highly recommend it. You can check out a review of that on the channel as well. So overall, those are my big tips and tricks with my experience on board the Carnival Freedom. I want to know from you, if you've sailed on Carnival Freedom, what some of your tips are or Carnival tips in general. Thanks a lot for watching, and we'll see you on the next video.